Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Ed and I'm miles away from home. Right now we are still in Dharamshala. Today we are going to be learning about all things Tibet. We're going to go to the Dalai Lama Museum, Tibet World, Tibet Museum and everything else. We're going to try and eat some traditional Tibetan food and just learn everything that we can about the Tibetan culture here in Dharamshala. Whilst I walk down to the Tibet Museum, let's just do a quick bit of history and geography. So, Tibet is a part of China. Way back when, in 1912, the 13th Dalai Lama, the one before the current Dalai Lama, declared independence from China, and that wasn't recognised by any foreign power or anything, but they ruled as an independent entity in that time. And then in the 1950s, late 1950s, China then retook Tibet back as part of its country, and so it is a region within China. At that time, the Dalai Lama current was living in Lhasa, which is the capital of Tibet, and he fled to India, to Missouri, to form an administration of Tibetans in exile, and he was the de facto leader of Tibet in that time. He then moved to Dharamshala a year later, which is where he is now and still resides, and obviously now there is a huge Tibetan population and influence in Dharamshala because of that. The central Tibetan administration also is here, so everything politically Tibetan is here in Dharamshala. And for the last 50 years, they have been trying to find a middle way, the Dalai Lama and the Tibet authorities, so that they can preserve Tibetan culture, but at the same time China can keep their powers or their autonomy over the Tibet region. So if you come to Dharamshala, most likely you're going to be staying in Dharamkot or McLeod Ganj. So on the walk down, I thought I'd just quickly show you both of those places. This right here is Dharamkot, and the Dharamkot main market area. Oh god, wait for these guys. One thing I will say is that you need to be prepared to be walking, because Dharamkot and McLeod Ganj are both up the mountain quite far from Dharamshala, and it is steep. Dharamshala, Dharamkot, McLeod Ganj is a pretty popular spot for tourists because outside of the Tibetan culture and all of that good stuff, there are some decent hikes here. Because of the Buddhism influence, there's a lot of meditation, a lot of yoga, sound healing, all that good stuff. So it becomes a pretty popular spot for tourism, and it is set up as such. I think if I had the information that I have now before I came here, I'd probably stay in McLeod Ganj or Bagsu, just because they're a little bit further down the mountain. It means that you can come up if you want to go to like a restaurant or something in Dharamkot, and then like you can go back down. Like staying in Upper Dharamkot where I am, it just means that like you don't want to go down the mountain, because once you go down the mountain, like you have to come back up, and it's such a stinker to come back up. Just to try and give you a bit of context on like the hill, so Dharamshala is all the way in the distance over there. I don't even know if you'll be able to see that on this wide angle lens. And then McLeod Ganj is like over there through the trees, and then Dharamkot is like fucking up there. So that's just to try and give you a bit of context on the state of the hills. Look, the camera's not going to pick it up, I know it's not, but I'm telling you, I'm pre-warning you, if you come here, it's hilly, mate. So coming into McLeod Ganj now, and I'll show you a little bit more of what it looks like. There's a lot more Tibetan influence here in McLeod Ganj than there is in Dharamkot, and it's also where the Dalai Lama temple is, but we will go to the Tibet Museum first, and then we'll come back to do the Dalai Lama temple afterwards. Similarly to Dharamkot, McLeod Ganj has lots and lots of tourist souvenir type shops, like these ones, but it's a bit bigger and has a lot more of them. They also have this, which I don't actually know what it is. It's a prayer wheel. Okay, that's good. Cool. So yeah, they have like this little temple-y type thing here in McLeod Ganj, and then a lot more of the no thank you, sorry, a lot more of the souvenir shops, etc, etc. You also see so many of these prayer flags everywhere. This might be a memorial actually. I hope it isn't, so that I'm not being disrespectful, but yeah, you see loads of these prayer flags everywhere. They're very beautiful. It adds like a real charm to the place of Dharamshala. Oh, it looks like it is a memorial around this corner. Let's have a look at it, shall we? Don't actually know exactly what it is. On the map it says Circumambulation Way, Dalai Lama Temple, but I don't know whether that's just the name of the road. Anyway, whatever it are, there's some more of these prayer circle cylinders. I have eternal good luck and good sentiments now. Monkey! So these just go all the way down this way. This must be what circumambulation way means, is that it's got all of these prayer cylinders on there. So cool. I love that lady, she was so cute. She was like doing them all, and there's loads of monkeys about, and I was like, oh, I'm scared, and she's laughing at me. Oh, very nice, very wholesome interaction. I very often find myself in discussion with people about the merits of Google Maps versus Apple Maps, and people seem to slander me when I said that Apple Maps is better. I have been using Google Maps for the last 3 months, and I find myself consistently in situations like this where Google Maps is telling me that this is meant to be a road slash path. Now it is a path, but it's not fully what I was expecting, and hopefully it leads me to where I want to go, because I'm not convinced it's going to. But anyway, I don't think Apple Maps is better, by the way. I think they're both equally crap. I wouldn't put myself in the category of lost right now, but I'm definitely not where I expected to be when I started following Google Maps earlier this morning. Absolutely never in doubt, mate. Obviously, this is the way. Obviously. Stupid thing. So you also see a bit of this. Which I'm not sure like who's keen for this and who's not keen for that, to be honest. I don't know whether like the Dalai Lama's all involved in that or not, but yeah, there's a sign there that says China stole our land, now they steal our children. Over 1 million Tibetan children are forced into colonial boarding school. It's kind of mad. And then here's the administration and stuff is through here. They also have all the governmental departments here, so they've had like the health department and then all of these cream buildings. So there's the electoral commission over there, something else over there. All the different Tibetan government authorities are all here as well. I'm actually really interested to go here. It's really interesting that it says that it's not neutral, and then it wants to reclaim its kind of culture from its own story rather than the Chinese version. I think that's cool that it's like, we're not neutral, this is us. So every Wednesday they choose Tibetan ways of doing things, including wearing Tibetan clothes, eating Tibetan food. It's like a non-violent protest whilst they're in exile, which is so interesting and very sad that they have to do this in exile. This is the bit I'm most interested in, the food. They eat sampa, which is barley flour, roasted barley flour. It's really interesting that the Dalai Lama had like political power until as late as 2011, and now it's obviously the central authority for Tibet. But it's really interesting that like you can mix religion and politics like that. So according to this version, the Chinese invaded in 1950, And then in 1951 they presented the 17-point agreement, which essentially was an ultimatum declaring Tibet as part of China and not giving Tibet any autonomy essentially or control over their internal affairs. It doesn't respect their religion and culture, and it doesn't protect the power of the status of the Dalai Lama, or at least it said it would, and then China has not abidden by that over the last 70 years, I guess now. 1.2 million people they estimate have died since 1949-1984 as a result of Chinese policies. Interesting that they've gone from like fighting to cultural resistance, because that's what the Dalai Lama is about, isn't it? Like Buddhist policies does non-violent approaches to this sort of thing. It's insane, like you don't really hear about this very much in the West, like why they're in exile and what they have to do to escape, like to go in the harshest winter weather, they have to go at night and sleep in the day. Obviously they're crossing the Himalayas, man, so it's like hypothermia, snow, broken bones, crazy. All of this to escape. And there's a little thing on like why. A lot of them do it to meet the Dalai Lama, but then also like to study in Tibetan schools, or they come like to study Buddhism, obviously the repression of the Chinese policies as well. What's also mad is that obviously Tibetans still live in Tibet, so but they're like horrifically oppressed by the Chinese government, who are trying to like obviously repress their culture, etc. But tourism into Tibet is really big in China, so lots of Chinese domestic tourists go into Tibet, apparently, according to this. And obviously they've like made Tibet and Tibetan culture almost like a tourist attraction for Chinese, which is fascinating and like brutal, mate. And so obviously if you're a Tibetan living in Tibet, it's really hard for them, the guys in exile, to get information about that because of the communist and the repressive Chinese government. Very, very fascinating. It's so sad though, like so sad. Before we go and see the Dalai Lama temple, I want to go get some food, and as we're doing a little Tibetan day, I'm going to try and find a traditional Tibetan restaurant and eat some traditional Tibetan food. The place that I wanted to go is closed, right here, where this dude is sat. But it looks like there's a place here that has Tibetan writing, so I'm going to give this a shot, see if it's any good. This will definitely do the job, mind. Look at the menu. It's written in Tibetan. So I'm gonna try a couple of things, I think, because I want to try like different things, and I'll show you what they look like. And obviously, I'm taking my hat off because I'm sweating. Obviously, I will review them. So I've ordered something that I've never heard before, called a Son Nei Ping. This is what it looks like. Fucking looks awesome. I've got chopsticks and a knife and fork. I'm gonna eat it. I'm gonna do a review on my Instagram. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, follow me on Instagram to see the review. It is @milesaway. It'll be on the screen now. I've also ordered these, which look like baos, but I'm hoping it's gonna be baozi. Mutton baozi. Obviously this is loads of food, but I don't care. This was delicious, but I couldn't finish these baos, so I'm gonna ask the lady if she can give me a doggy bag so I can take them with me, and I will have them for dinner, I guess. Right, mate, I'm armed with this bag full of food for later. Now it's time to go see the Dalai Lama temple, boys and girls. And here it is in all of its unassuming glory. Right then, let's get into this temple. Monks and that. I don't know what like the crack is, if it's going to be free or... It's not going to be free, but the Tibet Museum is only 20 rupees, so it's pretty good. Get yourself a medical clinic, some herbal products. Obviously you can get yourself a little Dalai Lama bag if you need one of them. Oh yeah, it's Jimmy Neutron. Oh, it's kind of nice. I did not expect this to be down here at all. Tibetan National Martyr Memorial. Oh, whoa. Cafe, kitchen, Memorial. Still no temple. Way to temple. Here we go. I don't know, you work for it. Here we go. Wow. I don't know what I was expecting, but it was not this. Monks practicing. The temple is up the stairs. This is fascinating. I don't want to. I'm going to just have a little wander around here first. You can just sit and. I wonder if it's like some kind of practice that they're doing. I don't know anything about Buddhism or monks or anything. I really probably should. So I've just done a bit of Googling. When they're doing that left hand clap, like hitting their left hand with their right hand, this is typical in Tibetan Buddhism apparently. When in a debate, the loud clap or strike signifies the coming together of compassion and wisdom, emphasizing that all action should be guided by both. And the left hand represents wisdom and the right hand represents compassion, method and skillful understanding. And it's traditionally used in debate. Now obviously I'm not 100% sure what's going on here because I don't know, it doesn't look like they're in that much of a debate. Please circumambulate this way. Right then, the entrance is around the corner. Oh hell yeah, there's a nice view of like Dharamshala and, well, the valley at least anyway. A nice view of the what do you call it, gondola. With that, I am going to end the video. I hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you very much if you have watched this far. I hope it was useful, I hope it was insightful, and it showed a little bit of Tibetan culture and what you can see and do in Dharamshala. Make sure that you like the video if you liked it. Make sure to comment if you want to say something to me. Follow me on Instagram and share it with your nan. You know she will love it. And I will see you next time.